Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining the Master Teacher Tape Group, and welcome. Today is like a beautiful program. I cannot say anything else. It's like absolutely fantastic. So we start with a part of today's lesson and use this as a contemplation. The lesson of today is like, if I defend myself, I am attacked. And so that's a great lesson. It's a long lesson. There's a lot in there. You could spend a week with it easily, but you can also use it in a contemplation, and that's exactly what we do today. So it's the condensed version, you could say. We put it together. And especially the part where the upliftment starts is where what we will use in this meditation or contemplation. While you make plans for death, He led you gently to eternal life. Your present trust in Him is the defense that promises a future undisturbed, without a trace of sorrow, and with joy that constantly increases as His life becomes a holy instant, as this life becomes a holy instant, set in time, but heeding only immortality. While you made plans for death, He led you gently to eternal life. Your present trust in Him is the defense that promises a future undisturbed, without a trace of sorrow, and with the joy that constantly increases as this life becomes a holy instant, set in time, but heeding only immortality. Let no defenses but your present trust direct the future. And this life becomes a meaningful encounter with the truth that only your defenses could conceal. Without defenses, you become a light which heaven gratefully acknowledges to be its own. And it will lead you on in ways appointed for your happiness, according to the ancient plan, begun when time was born. Your followers will join their light with yours, and it will be increased until the world is lighted up with joy, and gladly will our brothers lay aside their cumbersome defenses, which availed them nothing and could only terrify. We will anticipate that time today with present confidence, for this is part of what was planned for us. We will be sure that everything we need is given us for our accomplishment of this today. We make no plans for how it will be done, but realize that our defenselessness is all that is required for the truth to dawn upon our minds with certainty. So we will anticipate that time today with present confidence, for this is part of what was planned for us. we will be sure that everything we need is given us for our accomplishment of this today. We make no plans for how it will be done, but realize that our defenselessness is all that is required for the truth to dawn upon our minds with certainty. Wow. Thank you so much for joining us in this pure delight, you could say. Thank you so much for joining. That's so great. So to add yeah, to add some more joy to this, we're going to look at a few expressions from the first 5 minutes of the talk that we're going to listen to. Now, the talk is the Ecstasy of Impossibility, the Miracle of Light. So this is the third part of the talk in Sedona. We didn't listen to the second, but you can, of course, and maybe we listen to it next time, I don't know. But this one will tell us a lot. I mean, this is huge. In 5 minutes, you have so much material to look at for yourself, or to let it pass by for, oh my God, I never considered it even, or who knows what opens up. And this is characteristic for listening to, in fact, say part 1, 2, 3 is a whole talk, Master Teacher. They divided it into 3 because there were 45-minute tapes. That's why it's divided into 3, but that's the only reason. So in fact, it was like not 1.5 hours. No, there's more. Another hour on top of that. Almost like that. It's like 2.5 hours would be a normal session. And the interesting part is then when you join in it, you would not think it would take that long at all. So it was like you're really not in time. And this happens to you too when you listen to this. So now here's the interesting thing in experiencing this. I said it before, it's like it's tuning into a frequency. It's allowing yourself to become present. Let everything fall apart for a moment. But here's you being present with this light and love that is being offered. And recognizing that for yourself as that is what I am. That's why it's so attractive and so beautiful. And so that's one way of listening to it. Now, you go through a development in that, because more and more you start to listen with your whole being, and that starts to move the energies within you. And you can hear this too in the talks that we listen to, of course, like you hear people making noises, at least to say the least. It's like they're actually in an experience of having their centers being opened. Their physical centers, light body centers, however you want to call it. Their whole chakras are opening. They're to give it words, but there's no necessity. It's like you have your own experience, and allow that these words, this energy, this frequency to affect you. Then something happens. If you resist it, it is not very interesting. So it's like in your defenselessness, it can bring you home in an instant, like just like that. It's very easy. So this is a great invitation to an experiment, and that's really what it is. It's an experiment. You don't know what's going to happen, but you can totally trust the process of what is going on in that. Now, like I said, you can experience it in different ways. So one way is then you feel all these centers opening up. But when these centers are opening up, it might be that you actually become so calm that it looks like you fall asleep. And actually you're not. So it's literally, you're being lifted out of your normal ways. It looks physically like a sleep. It might even remind you of a sleep, but for sure, you're in the energy. I've seen this with so many people. I've seen this, yeah. So that's really interesting. So don't think that you fell asleep during this if you listen to it. It can happen, of course, but it's more like, no, you're literally be taken out. You're going out of time for a moment. So you don't, it's like absence of the body. You don't have a body awareness in that moment. This is just a few ways to experience this. Now I want to get to the expressions of Master Teacher, because they're interesting, of course, because he starts the third part with this. There's the title of it, that is Your Real Bright Identity. Whatever you are is all there is. Now this seems very logic, but this includes everything. That's why it's quite an expression. Whatever you are is all there is. Literally, however you experience yourself is all that there is. There's not something else happening at that point. It's like whatever you are is all that there is. And whatever you are experiencing is the only thing the universe is. Whether that's a huge, incredible, or a small, tiny, it really doesn't matter. It's like it's all that there is. There's nothing outside your experience of all this. Now, here's an interesting thing. Because we're talking on a level that is deep, that has to do with your soul journey, you could say, with the deep things in life, with coming to life, with awakening from a dream of death, letting go of ideas about what death is, about what you are, and allowing yourself to be changed. Right? This is the awakening. You allow yourself to be changed. You can't stay the same. When you start to receive this, you cannot be the same. Now, this is an interesting part. This is an interesting part because since all that you are is the only thing there is, it is also with the change that occurs within you. The change that occurs within you is, like Joel Goldsmith would say, is like your sacred secret. It's like, this is for you. This is your experience. This is only for you. And that's really true. It's like, that's only for you. Now this is this entails a couple of things, because in your daily idea about yourself, you might think like, well, I want somebody to acknowledge that, to make sure that it's really happening, or who knows what. Like, you want to let it be verified for you. I've heard people say, like, when I had my awakening experience, I was surprised that there wasn't like an ashram for me, that I could be the master. Like, you might have imaginations about that. Now here it is, Master Teacher brings this back to the basics. It's like, does it need to be verified that the incredible new occurrences that are taking place in you, do they need to be verified? Do you actually need confirmation of that in some kind of way? No, that's not necessary. It's literally only for you in your experience. Does the shift in you that occurred need to be verified? No, it does not. In other words, do you need to share it, or do you need to talk about it? Do you need... Yeah, well, you see here some examples. I don't see big things about the resurrection last night that took place in the papers this morning. Like, it wasn't even in the papers. It's amazing. Like, that would be great news, but it isn't in the papers. About the world being over and everybody being in heaven. That would be great news, right? That would solve the world problems. But does it need to be verified what you are experiencing? No. It's literally, it has nothing to do with that. And that's what we see here. It's like, no. What do you want me to tell you? All I'm doing is teaching A Course in Miracles. If you're here doing this, is because you want to be here doing this in your own association with yourself. You're dreaming and waking up. Now salvation is simple because of what I read to you a little bit ago. You're not going to make the unreal real, no matter what you do. This never happened, and when you awakened, this will be gone and never was. So here's the point of, does it need to be verified? No, not at all. It's like it only happened within you, and that's the only occurrence that needs to take place. It doesn't have to do with the world. It doesn't have to do with anything else. This gets pretty mystical, doesn't it? Suddenly I'm undergoing bodily, physical resurrection and changes of all sorts of things. Anything can happen, and does. And that can be quite interesting. Feeling all kinds of physical changes that are not logic, that are, different, really different. Suddenly you think you walk around without a head, or something like that. Or who knows what happens. You might have all kinds of interesting physical changes and experiences. So you say, well, sometimes there's bad things happening, sometimes there's good things. No, Master Teacher says, there are only things happening. It doesn't need to be sorted out. It doesn't tell you anything about yourself, what is happening. It is not good, it is not bad. No, they're just things happening. The experience you are having, that you had this morning, or that you just had in the meditation, was this new, real, bright identity of yourself with yourself in this new time association, and that's a lovely thing to see. The question arises, and I'm going to answer this truthfully, is this time segment over? Well, if you've come in your mind to the certainty that you have no purpose here except to wake up and be in heaven, then certainly you get to the end of this time segment. I am speaking to you individually now. Indeed, the time segment is very close to an end, and it would have to be, wouldn't it? Now here, the experience you are having that you had this morning was this real bright identity of yourself with yourself in this new time association, and that's a lovely thing to see. I want to go back to that a little bit to make that come really close to your own experience, because you can feel in the moments that we come together, or when we meditate, when I play this music, for instance, you might really feel a deep sense of connection, like such deep sense of connection that actually is just a start. So it can literally be opened even further, that you go deeply into that ecstatic place within yourself where you can experience that. Like that is the part that is really possible, but so unknown in human experience, you could say, that has nothing to do with human experience. So it's a new experience for you in your remembrance of yourself, like in the new you that you discover to be, and discover yourself to be, of course. It's like this is the thing that's happening. So you have this place in your mind where that can open up, where you can feel the ecstasy, literally the incredible bliss of the connection with your Creator. Now that to give that space to breathe more air, more life into that, or to literally open more for that, is your individual practice in light. Light work with yourself, you could say. It's like there's nothing to lose with completely going into that. And this is the practice, really, what we do, especially specifically with the master teacher tapes, because they all bring you there. In fact, you have an easy place to cross over into a whole different experience of yourself, where this time you're going to allow yourself to feel that ecstasy of the impossibility of this place, but at the same time the absolute incredible recognition of what is true about you. So this is wonderful. That's all I'm saying now. Like, that is really lovely. Now if you say, well, no, this is not the end of a segment. No, I want to be able to tell this to other associations that were not present in this that we are not present in this configuration of time. Sorry, I'll read that again. Well, no, I want to be able to tell this to other associations that were not present. I have a typo here, that's why I got confused. Were not present in this configuration of me, like they haven't seen me like this in my new configuration of light. I want to be able to tell this to other associations. Well, that's an assignment, Master Teacher said, that you're willing to accept somewhere in your whole historic framework. Let me take another shot at this badge. I think I can get some of them to see this, okay? That's a function that you assume here. Need you do that? If you say so. At this point, I'm going to relieve you of the necessity to do that and let you take on the responsibility for yourself if you want to. It's like the focus is more on the self-responsibility to receive this for yourself than to start to teach this. It's like you're being relieved of the necessity to teach this, to tell this to others, so to speak. Now this we looked at the other day too. There was a question about Mary and Jesus. It's like Jesus would go out and teach to the crowd, and Mary would just completely follow him and stay in her own light, just being patient, you could say, or having her own experiences. Like she didn't teach directly to the crowd, while Jesus did that. Now here, that was Jesus' way of doing that. So this is very individual. If you feel that you have to share that, and if you feel that you have to teach that, then that will happen. Then there it is. You are so full of what you have experienced, you want to give that away. For a moment, that can be great. Look what I'm doing. So it's like I recognize myself in that, and that is like, yes, I did take that step to do it, and that was literally invited by Master Teacher. He asked me to do that, and then he asked me to teach this. He literally in a one-on-one asked me to do that, and at that point I had like, wow, that's so amazing. I don't even know where to start. I have no idea. And so the interesting part is that everything along the way, in fact, I had nothing to do with that either, how this all opened up. It was totally different than I could even imagine. But it did happen. So that's also beautiful. Do I need to continue that? It could be a question like, do I need to continue this? Well, why would I do that? Why would I continue this? Unless it's totally given to do so. Like I have no intention to keep doing what I'm doing. So that's the interesting part. I recognize that my acceptance of what is given is all that matters. Like I can disappear out of this. I can be completely awake at home in heaven. And still I have decided to start to teach this and to literally let a batch come to me where I feel that I have a chance to convey something, in fact to open something up that I recognize happened in myself, but I love to give that away. And that's exactly what's occurring, and you're part of it. That's why you're listening to this, that's why you're here, that's why you do this. It's like that, there is a recognition that this, you were exactly chosen for this, to hear this, in this lifetime, in this moment. Otherwise you would not be here. So that's amazing. I couldn't believe that either, but that's really how that works. So you have a chance of actually hearing what all this says and take that for yourself. As you don't have to start teaching this. If you would just accept this for yourself, complete and whole, that would be an amazing fulfillment. Basically, that's the only thing that needs to occur. And the Master Teacher tapes that we're listening to are a real speed up for that too. So that's why I love to start to listen to that. So I'm turning on the tape that we're going to listen to, the Ecstasy of Impossibility and the Miracle of Light, that's a subtitle, from the Sedona talk. It's a pretty old talk, you could say. It's like, I don't know which year, but probably before 1990, 86 or something. Anyway, so we're going to start listening to it, and I would say tap into the frequency. Don't worry about what's occurring, what seems to be happening. No, just give yourself all the space to breathe it in, to stand up if you need to, move around if you feel like it. Whatever happens, allow that. And then you can have a blast of an experience. So yeah, let's get started. Thank you so much for listening and being present here. So the interesting part is, you will hear that later in the talk. It's like the idea of 12. Now look around. With how many are we here? So that's a full circle, and a little bit more even. That's amazing.
There's one universe, it's yours, and it's what's going on now. Right. The miracle is your capacity to change it in association with yourself. Not to change particularly the aspects of it, but can change how the aspects affect you in relationship with yourself. I'm teaching positive, unqualified, subjective reality, and nobody likes that. Do you understand? Nobody likes the idea that false mind is God mind.
Right.
Because there's only one mind.
Well.
You think you can identify falsity. That's what I just read you at the beginning. You can't. Okay, whatever you are is all that there is, isn't that so?
Yes.
Yeah, but then there'd be no such thing as evil. Now you don't like the message. Sorry. You really believe that some of your associations deserve punishment. Of course you do. Otherwise you wouldn't punish them. That's okay. So this shift has occurred. Can it be recognized? No. Does that have to be recognized? No. I don't find any reports about the resurrection in the first 100 years written up in historic frameworks out of Rome and all that. No. What? The resurrection occurred here last night. I don't see big things about it in the paper this morning about the world being over and everybody being in heaven. Well, that's a statement of fact. It seems as though I'm still here doing this. Okay? What do you want me to tell you? All I'm doing is teaching the course. If you're here doing this, it's because you want to be here doing this in your own association with yourself. You're dreaming, and you're waking up. Now salvation is simple, because of what I read you a little bit ago. You're not going to make the unreal real no matter what you do. This never happened, and when you awaken, this will be gone and never have been. And that's the only step that you ever really have to take. Well, this gets pretty mystical, doesn't it? Suddenly I'm undergoing bodily, physical resurrection and changes and all sorts of things. Yeah. Yeah. Anything can happen. And does.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes there's bad things and sometimes there's good things. No. There are only things. I'm teaching the course, but it's hard to teach it. The Holy Spirit is totally divine and abstract. Okay, but it can only reflect back to you what the result that you want in your own mind. Okay, you see?
Yes.
It's a remembering not at your disposal in relationship. It's a whole remembering of you. It remembers each perfect moment that there was, including the first one. And it will convert any of that to the wholeness of you. The experience you're having, that you had this morning, was this new, real, bright identity of yourself with yourself in this new time association, and that's a lovely thing to see. The question arises, and I'm going to answer this in truth for you, is that this time segment over? Well, if you've come in your mind to the certainty you have no purpose here except to wake up and be in heaven,
Yes.
I'm speaking to you individually now, the time segment is very close to an end. It would have to be, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Now, if you say, well, no, I want to be able to tell this to other associations that we're not present in this configuration of me, that's an assignment that you're willing to accept somewhere in your whole historic framework. Let me take another shot at this batch. I think I can get some of them to see this. Okay. And that's a function that you assume here. Okay. Need you do that? If you say so. At this point, I'm going to relieve you of the necessity to do that and let you take on the responsibility for yourself, if you want to. Okay. Obviously, your sole purpose was to wake up from your own dream, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Somewhere you have given yourself a definition of saviorship. Is there such a thing as saviorship in reality? Of course not. No, there's no such thing as... Why would there be? But if there's a residual in your mind, there is, Jesus would say you're very valuable at that point, aren't you? Fine. You can bring about changes in that apparent association, and you assume that responsibility. What are you actually? A repairman. You repair broken communications. Actually, it's mechanical. You understand? You come into a situation where there's no communication because it's just broken. Okay? You can't repair it at the source because it'll cause too much influx of energy into it. So you go out and you repair little individual things, you hear that, and let them organize into the whole reassociation. In that sense, it's a project. Jesus says it's a carefully laid out plan for this segment of space-time, and you're right in the middle of it. Boy, there's a lot of energy. Under ordinary circumstances, this is not instructional energy. You hear me? instruction does not occur at revelation, it occurs at vision. You guys there's still stragglers coming into this new place. So it's sort of like holding open the perceptual door for another minute. So whatever part of you has been denying this new association can enter into it, if you want to. If I don't get offense, am I allowed to tell you? If I don't get offense, resistance, fear, I would continue this factoring, and how the hell do I know what would happen? I'm not afraid of it. You're the one that's afraid of it. I am at your instructions.
Yes.
And what you've done now, I have no idea. It's your script, though. I'll tell you this much. It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously a script of forgiveness and love.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
It's the most beautiful thing there could ever be. Because always the most beautiful association is where it was the crappiest. Do you see that?
Yes.
Jesus talks about this in the Course. There is no more sacred place in space-time than where an ancient total amenity, where an ancient enmity is resolved. Because that's a surge of death or conflict to life. And that's the most sacred time there. When enemies forgive each other in love is what we're saying. And the more total the enemy, the more surge of love in the forgiveness. Isn't that nice? It's always darkest before the dawn, huh?
Yeah.
When it always seems the worst, the repair is always the greatest. I know, but listen to what we're saying. If you can make it total just for a moment, the repair will be total. The whole basis of the Course in Miracles is make your futility total each moment. Everyone? So that the light salvation will occur. And you'll feel the ecstasy then of the impossibility in which you find yourself and the miracle of the new light that comes to you without your assistance, not caused by you. That's a miracle. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
That you had nothing to do with your recovery.
Yes. Oh, that's right.
Well, you say it, but you keep studying your recovery. If you didn't, you'll be in heaven. But the practice is to do it all the time. What? Heaven is all around you. Those are holy instances. There's no such thing as a holy instant unless there's an unholy one. Somewhere. Because an instant is what time was for an instant. Now we'll teach you that you can stay in the holy instant, okay, until you go out of here, and that's true. Because you'll just sit in one, and everything that comes into it, you'll just enter it into your instant. That's what you did here. You had accumulated in your own karma memory, somewhere in time, a big warehouse of holy instances. A continuum of love time that you now are tapping into. Strangely enough, you had a karma map of how to get there. Somewhere in all of your different times, you knew about this place. Can you hear this? Otherwise, you wouldn't have come up this old gravel road. Or John wouldn't have suddenly come to me and said, I got to go out to Sedona. And I said, why? He says, I got to go out and there's going to be a mission out there. I said, okay, go ahead. He had absolutely no control over it. The admission you don't have a control over to what the fun is. I know that's foolish to perceptual mind, is who is going to deny your miracle. Actually, everything's a miracle. That's the fun part. But when somebody asks you to do a miracle, if you have a whole mind, you don't know how to respond. Because you can't understand the limited association of the power of your own mind. You see? I do miracles for you. Did you ever see this one? Does that make you realize? Is that? That's a great one. Is that okay? Can you guys feel this? Well, what else do you want me to do? And you say, that's not a miracle. You just bent your thumb and... That's the only kind I know how to do it. Good, right on. What's the core teaching? Any judgment denied the miracle. Good for you, boy. That's a nice teaching. We got the great debunker, Randy. Randy was a former con man who's going to debunk anything no matter what it is. You know, every time somebody has an experience, he's determined he can solve it within his own perceptual association. It's really pretty sad, finally. He has to debunk Mozart. I don't think he does. I don't know what he does with that. He has to say Mozart stole into the library and he was 6 years old and found some manuscripts and put it together, his first symphony. Somebody told him how to do it. He couldn't possibly have used another level of consciousness to bring that about. How sick and sad that is. No, you are all geniuses. You all have all of the power of your own mind to be creative if you will release yourself from the fear of limited self-identity and dictate to yourself your own terms of what you think you can do. I'm offering you that freedom, and you're very afraid of it because it will be a loss of what you thought you could do up until this minute. But what you thought you could do up to this minute is just a millionth part about what you can really do with your mind. You got it?
Yes.
And if that frightens you, I'm sorry. And if you ask for proof of it, I can't prove it. Okay? Okay. What I'm teaching you is not flight or fight. Okay? But simply be here. Don't define it. And you'll change. And that's the miracle. That's fun. Why? Because you're beginning to... I'm watching you change right in front of me here teaching. Some of you guys just begin to change literally. Your images change. You notice that? You get young and vital. The way you look at yourself changes. Does the image really change? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It changes. I won't let you die. You won't be able to tell the difference in your image except you'll feel better about it. Okay? You'll get a better reflection of yourself from the associations around you, too. And if they don't give you good reflection, you won't care. You'll find one that will. You won't demand that that previous one give you what you thought that they wanted. That's the dilemma of time. When Jesus teaches this in the Course, he says, why don't you wait just a second? You're so accustomed in your own ego to get the result that you've demanded that the Spirit takes just a second longer to analyze it in the new association of you. Remember, everything you're introducing into your own time is to give you a reflection of what you wanted to see. And you can fall into that habit very readily because that's a habit that you have. And if you can remember that you're doing it every second, you may atone one thing perfectly, but meantime, the other mind is setting up other scenarios for you. This is the practice of the holy instant, guys. Is the way I said that okay, Jay? Huh? Jake teaches you only see what you want to see. Okay? And that if you bring to the natives that are in this, I listened to one of your talks, they couldn't see the ships that came out into the harbor at all. They were not a part of their cultural realization that they actually couldn't see them. Wow. And that's a true statement. Yes. You actually can't see really what's going around here because it's an anomaly. You have subtracted from your own field of reference and are basing the miracle on the limitation of your own mind. But it's there. How do you know it's there? You're keeping it out. It's exactly the same idea as not knowing is a decision. The sentence in the Course, boy, there's so much lovely stuff in here, guys. If you don't know something, it must be that you don't want to know. You decided not to know. Is that so?
Yes.
Otherwise, how do you know you don't know? That's a terrible place to find yourself. Because you're going to have to admit you don't want to. You've already constructed God in your mind, haven't you? Because he's an idea of your own perfect self. And that's what he is. Because everything is perfect. Now you're caught in the terrible situation of wondering why you can't get to him. And it makes absolutely no sense at all if you look at it. All this book trains you to do, and I'm trying to get you to do, is actually look at the insane, incredible, hallucinatory situation that you're in and decide that you don't want to be there. And you won't be there. Maybe. Well, you guys are used to being independent. When you're this deep, a lot of you guys have been doing real good work out here. I'll give you full credit for what the hell you've been doing. I'm not going to take your credit. I just want to give you a little more than that. And you're real suspicious of it. It's hard for you to believe that your time is actually left. A lot of you guys who have been dedicated, you think we don't use these servants of men. We do. But we're going to tell them, hey, just let her go now. You're done. You don't have to keep doing that. We don't care how the ego judges it. What do we care? It's not going to be true anyway. But if you're determined it's going to be true, you'll have the consequences of your own defense of yourself.
Okay.
But it won't, yeah, okay, I'm glad, but it ain't going to make it real. How can you solve a problem of a lovely constructed mind that's doing it in its own right? You can't. It'll just have to experience the pain of it falling apart.
Wow.
That's a fact. You understand me?
Yeah.
I'll get it to fall apart as fast as I can. That is, there is no way that association could sit with me very long because I would challenge it.
Right.
It has to, because all whole minds always challenge the association. See, if a mind, I'll use you as an example. It's just obviously, people who know me know it doesn't have anything to do with personal. It's not a personal thing. That mind actually believes that it's in an exchange with me. It believes that it is formulating ideas that you and I are changing back and forth. This is very common with a perception. Isn't it, Nellie?
Yes.
Okay, Nellie learned that she was going to exchange with me somehow, and that's not the way it works. No exchange is really possible. There is no dialogue going on here. You nod your head as though you're recognizing me. That's the surest way I know you're not hearing me.
Wow.
Because hearing me is an experience. If you begin to teach, and especially you teachers now that are teaching, Jesus calls it spirit. Remember when Jesus sends his disciples out and they say, what the hell are we going to say? He says, just go out and stand there and open your mouth and it'll come out. Why? Because I've given you this charge of new reality that you're going to do. When you really get into talking about the associations, your mind will do it so inclusively that it will formulate what you call parable associations, so that everything is being translated in your mind. Yeah. When you have a computer mind that's not accustomed to the way you're communicating, it will desperately grab a pad. And it's going to write down everything that you're saying so it can make application of it to what it is brought into the room to identify itself.
Wow.
Okay? And suddenly it discovers that either it can't get it down fast enough or it can't understand you. And somebody will say to it, don't try to understand it. Just come into the situation and be there, all right? Because you must be there for a purpose other than what you think you brought yourself there for. That's the key to teaching A Course in Miracles. The key, obviously, is the first 10 lessons of the workbook that say the reasons that you're there have nothing to do with the reasons that you think you're there. Nothing. Okay?
Yeah.
So, what's the reason that we're all sitting here under this tent and we're doing? Can't define no. You'll have to tell me. I had a couple associations. This is occurring in this new framework, saying that the time is up.
Oh, wow.
That my time is up. That's kind of an amazing thing. Is that true? I'll look at that. Is my time up here? I don't know. That hasn't been up and that easy. You see? Is it right if I do this? See? Try to stay out of identity with me, will you? I'm just trying to look for you, and you try to look along with me in it. I don't know where you are. I can't find you. I'll find you, though. You're around here somewhere. Where are you? Look at this, see? Look at that. You couldn't do that yesterday. She said, see if I can teach it. When your mind becomes whole, you begin to extend Shakti, energy, begins to come out of you. Not by your definition of it, it really begins to come out. You're nothing but energy surrounding you anyway. It's all just energy association, isn't it? And as soon as you get out of that limited perception, you begin to experience the miracle, do you see? What is the miracle? Communication. It's the repair of the schism. You see what happened to you? Look what happened to you. Despite everything you did, you're going to be whole and beautiful. Now you can deny it and say, "Ah, shit, I would like to believe you, but the fact of the matter is that I'm dying." Well, I said, "Well, I know that. Everything here dies. But there isn't any such thing as that. I understand perfectly well that the idea of dying is why you're here, but it's not real. And you can't prove it. Let me see you prove it to me. Who's first?" Come on. You're here because you can die. Well, prove it. Well, I could if I wanted to. You can always threaten me with suicide or killing somebody else. It doesn't impress me in the slightest. Isn't that funny? You're going to prove that God is wrong about this and that you're not perfect by killing yourself. That's what you do. That's why you came here. Do you think that all murder isn't suicide? Who is it that you're killing but yourself? Sickness is suicide. Come on. What is it that you kill, though? Nothing. Nothing. Boy, it's amazing. Life is eternal. You can't. Death is what nothing is. You're real thick in here because you got some guys that aren't going to go in this. If you want to go to the next shift, Beauty, Angel, you guys bright minds. Who else is that? Where's Gloria? Glorious is in England?
Yes.
These are not separate identities, guys. These are energy factors. You understand? There's no reason why you too can fill in. Remember that there's 12 rays. And if you've got these guys, I'm talking to my high teacher, if you've got these guys not judging what's happening, a lot of them are still sitting here going, what the hell is this guy doing? I'm going to get him. Okay. But if you stop doing that, you can make application of this light energy. And there's a big shift last night. And you still got some guys that are going to try to trap you, but that's okay. Okay. There's a lot of love in here. By trap, I mean judge. They're going to reduce you some way to the definition of themselves. They're going to demand recognition for themselves in this association. Remember, that always prevents the miracle, doesn't it? Because the miracle's working all the time if you don't attempt to bring your own association into it. That's the whole teaching. Okay, and you are getting a demonstration of that here, because there's a lot of real dramatic healing going on. Some of you guys, and I'm talking about sicknesses that you were aware of that you don't have anymore, all right? I suggest that you take a look and discover that they're gone. I'm assuring you that if you'll allow this to happen, miracles will really, this is instruction from Jesus Christ in Sedona. He really wants miracles. He really wants demonstration of it. A whole mind, and I'm a professional whole mind, has a tendency to look on miracles as phenomena. But the instruction is that it's so deep, let's give him the miracle. Okay. He tried it. Okay. You know, go and says, go and be no longer separated. Obviously, a lot of associations are going to use this miracle to continue to reassociate with themselves. Okay. But remember what I told you a little bit ago. There's enough bright light reassociation now that we'll be able to hold this in this form so that the guy that you perform the magic on will not subsequently attack you because you cannot fulfill something else that he wants you to do. Who heard me? Could you hear that? That's the Judas, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. As long as the Judas gets enough zealot to satisfy himself in what he wants using your energy, you are his savior. When you cannot do that for him, he will crucify you. He has to, because that's the nature of his mind. He's going to utilize this power sufficiently to justify himself. When he does that, obviously he'll end up crucifying you. You've overcome his suspicion, but it will turn to viciousness. It cannot not. That being said, and I'm not trying to go to, there's no personality involved in this. There's enough unity energy to withstand a crucifixion onslaught without having too much Armageddon. Now the Armageddon is going to occur. When we harvest out of here, this is what's happening now. Okay, and the choice, and the reason it's happening is to afford you individually the choice in your own mind. Okay, this is just going to keep getting worse and worse very rapidly now, if you're ready to hear it. If you're not ready to hear it, it'll appear to get better. If it gets better, you're going to have the experience of hearing the bad part about it.
Wow.
That's a fact. Okay?
Yeah.
Obviously the world is not such a nice place to be. You may still be able to find a place where it's nice and live out whatever you think life is, and do that if you want to. But if that provision is there, as you have it now, many of your old memories, this one, that one, this one here, these guys are all old buddies of mine. This one is in here. All of us know perfectly well that we've done this before. It's impossible that any disassociation you have with this is not a perfect association in your own mind with it. I just told you you must be denying it because you have to know it. Okay? And I mean specifically in this reference, not in some other reference. You thought there was some other reference, there's not. Got it?
Yes.
There's just this reference.
Yes.
If we can show you the miracle in this reference, you'll want to stay in this one. That's the teaching. Is this the only one there is? Yes. Is this the only time there is? Yes. Is this the time you do it in this lifetime, in this association? Yes. Can I fail at this? No. Can I lose doing this? There is no such thing as loss. You are already lost. You cannot possibly lose more than you've already lost, you dummies. You keep trying to hold on to just a little bit of this. What you've lost is heaven, and you couldn't really lose that. So don't be satisfied with this little stuff, all right? You've got so much energy that I'm not going to be able to talk anymore. Now, in this New Bright Association, today, after this session, I don't know whether you're going to eat, stay here and enter into the what we call life team associations. Stop trying to define them. Okay? Some of you are determined that there's a place like God's country place that people went to. Not true. God's country place was burned down last night. It's gone. Well, see, I knew it wasn't the right place anyway. I gotcha. That's exactly what you do. You're going to bring about failure somehow in your own mind. Huh? See how simple salvation is? Yeah. You're very foolish. I know, yeah, that's okay. You're giving everything away. Yeah, that's okay. I would never do that. Where the hell you think you're going? You're taking a chance on something that couldn't possibly do. I know. Oh, yeah. I know. That's okay. That's all right. I don't want this anymore. Whatever you got, you may think it's good, but I don't want it because I see where it's going to lead you. Yeah, but it's better than nothing. That's what they'll say to you. When you undergo your transformation, to them, you're going to nothing.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's an amazing thing. Isn't that amazing? They do not understand you. There is no communication going on between spiritual men and natural men. When Jesus talks about it, he means it literally. He means it literally. My mind, your mind when it's awake, cannot understand that persona, that association. It has no, you can't recognize it. It's not anything. It's going, I'm so-and-so from her. And you go, what the hell are you talking about? What you said was, what is that? What is Hoboken? Where is that? See? You question something beyond the bang, something before the Big Bang. How did you get here? Who am I really? All of you did that when you were very young, in this lifetime, in order to be with me. I was not really spiritual when I was young. I just wanted to know what the hell this was about, and nobody would tell me. That's a fact. They had discovered galaxies. Boy, it was exciting to me when I was young. The idea that there were millions of other stars out there, and they were all civilizations, trillions and trillions of them. So I said, well, let's go and find. I said, well, we can't know about it. There's no way you can know about that. I didn't like that. If there was a God, I wanted to know what he was. I want to know why the hell he was like this. What am I doing here in this thing with the universe? Okay? You have every right to ask that question, and you have every right to demand the answer. And through demanding the answer, you will undergo the experience of the frustration of not knowing. And the more frustration you feel and are determined that it can't be solved, the more you'll change in your own mind. You are in an evolutionary process to new man. Homo superior. A new association of mind. You know the problem I have teaching this, if I don't bring in the spiritual vernacular? You'll stay in your own temporal ideas about it. The fact of the matter is your archetype has a great many holy instances kneeling before the altar. Okay? You know, when you went to church on Easter Sunday morning and you got a flash of Jesus at the well and the stained glass window, that's with you. You don't have to call on it specifically. It's part of your whole energy factoring, you see? Okay. Certainly you can't get it by denying your heritage. That's nonsense. And you can't get it by constructing a new vocabulary of what you think it ought to be and having new images. If this image here of this, whatever this is not perfect and divine, if this is not the body and blood of Christ, there isn't any such thing as the body and blood of Christ. Is there such a thing? I don't know, but if you want this to be it, and if you take a sip of this and you spring into heaven, don't blame me. Just yell, thank you! Boom. No, that wasn't it. That was it. What is it? What'd you say? 1 o'clock. Is it? 10, 11, 12. Remember when classes were 45 minutes and you could in 3 hours. Huh? No, in school you had 45. Have I ever had 45? Some of you guys coming into this bright light are going to feel an incredible compulsion to teach. It's your designation. You'll end up teaching no matter what you do. You'll do it in your own mind, and it's all you'll do. Every minute you'll be, and then the next thing you know, you begin to use this reference, and this is an incredible reference. And you'll play horoscope. You'll open it up anywhere in the middle and read it. Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. And it'll work perfectly for you because it's a divine source.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're opening it up for you. You can see the light of these words. Boy, it's fun to have a full purpose.
Yeah.
The fun part about it is to have a full purpose and not really know what it is. But that's hard to teach, isn't it? Because that's what a miracleist is. He never defines what his association is. Then he's a miracle. You guys finally got it what a miracle is?
Yes.
A miracle is only non-definition of the situation. Because the miracle is what you are. That's what's going on here all the time, isn't it? Look out, you're liable to transcend and go right out of here. And that's exactly what will begin to happen to you. And the more it happens to you, the more you'll attempt to teach it and fail. And the more you teach it and fail, the more certain you'll become that it can't be taught here. And that's good.
Yes.
Because that's part of you undergoing your own, what you call atonement. Your own no longer need to prove what has happened to you. Because in reality, what has happened to you has nothing to do with what you think has happened to you. Not anything. I saw more just as you are this morning when I came in here than I have seen on earth. By just as you are, I mean you guys were letting yourself be what you were and weren't demanding answers from associations outside yourself. You see? You're looking, well, I wonder about that. I mean, we don't do this.
Right.
We might be able to work a little magic doing this, but healing is the emergence of us in our identities together. That doesn't have to be divine, but it does have to be experienced.
Right.
Boy, there was a lot of celebrating in the ready room. What you guys call the borderland last night. You guys, boy, some of you are really having experiences. You may not remember them, but you should feel pretty good today about it. Whatever happened to you, you're here, you know. Some of you had a very dramatic one. That's nice. You asked for this. You remember this now. Crucial. You asked for this.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Specifically. I'll get you out of judgment here. You'll be home.
Yeah.
Isn't this a lovely place?
Oh, yeah.
Huh? Let's build a chapel here.
Oh, yeah.
When I say chapel, do you guys understand I'm talking about lilies of the field?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Homer Schmidt. You got to build me a chapel.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be a nice place for a chapel.
Be lovely.
It shows up.
Yeah.
All of this shows up
Wow.
on what you call the screen. Boy, you guys, there's no precedent for what you do. See, it's hard to teach you, but you're the archetype of this. You are the first demonstration of this. Stop looking for another demonstration of it. It's not here. You've assumed the responsibility of mission impossible. Okay? It's as though you were walking around doing your thing and all of a sudden, ping, a bell rings inside of you. You're a deep cover. We sometimes will insert deep covers down in, and if the timing gets just right, all right, we ring the bell. It goes ping like that. Jesus calls that the spark that's in you. Wow. That can then be ignited and accumulated into a great ray association. But you couldn't be here if you ain't got pinged. I mean, somewhere you are in deep things, and suddenly you're hearing this. Is this part of a program that you agreed to? Sure, sure. This is so deep you actually thought for a while we were going to leave you here. That's what I knew. No, we wouldn't leave you here. But we had to have you think for a moment we were going to. I'm talking very high to you. That's the highest teaching there is. Otherwise, we couldn't have the Course in Miracles, right? It's the same thing as saying the Savior must have the experience or he can't be a Savior. I hate plastic Christianity that said that Jesus was sent by God knowing perfectly well what was going to happen to him and was never tempted here. It just takes all of the guts out of Christianity. Christianity is the certainty that a man underwent the necessity not to be tempted and resurrected. Have you read the definition of the New Christian Church of Full Endeavor? Has that been passed out? Are those articles done?
Yes.
Okay, that article is going to be used around the world. It's a good one. Because it'll land right in the middle of Christianity. It's very difficult to attack. Theologically, it can be attacked at the one level where it simply says you're responsible for your own evilness. But most people are willing to accept some responsibility that they're the cause of their own pain. That's my fundamental teaching. That's how I got this. That I was doing this but to myself, right? But I'm entitled to some pain, aren't I? I've been to a lot of meetings with a lot of you guys. You bring your resentments into here and sit in your own resentment because it makes you feel good. See, the teaching is you hold on to your garbage because it makes you feel good. I know. Yeah, there's some lovely guys on the program that talks like that. It made him feel good just to get a lot of resentment. It's entitlement. Wow. Don't find your brother guilty, guys. He didn't do anything. It's all gone away now. Crazy place. Boy, it's awful to have a life based on revenge. Do you understand the perceptual mind is based on revenge?
Oh, yeah.
It's an amazing idea when you look at it. The necessity to get even is why you're here. Okay? Somehow you always feel cheated. This is in the Course, but if you really look at it, if that hadn't happened to me, this wouldn't have happened. But if it hadn't happened to me, I'd have been president of a company if I hadn't had asparagus in my teeth at the senior prom. So, yeah. And you just keep reliving it over and over. Especially the alky mind. I mean, if I just could change that, it would be okay. The mind is all over the place. It doesn't, the mind that does that doesn't understand that most human minds don't do that. The reason you're actually with me is because you got that kind of a mind. When I used to teach it, we call it mind FUC, mind fuck. It's mind jacking. You can't stop your mind from working. All the other human beings could do it, but you couldn't do it. Well, we're all here in the room to do this. Well, I'm sure we're not here to do something else. Let's take another look at this. And your mind, you understand? Shit, no wonder you needed to sedate yourself. You couldn't stand your own mind in the situation that you found yourself. It would just keep expanding and expanding. And you would give different reasons to yourself in order to what? Find a new purpose for the situation you found yourself in. That's called creative mind. Okay, this is the whole teaching of A Course in Miracles. There's another reason that you can make application of for this situation, including a perfect recognition of your love for each other. That's an amazing idea. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. How did I get to teach this? This is the way I used to teach. I taught human beings. It's what Course. What I did. Let go of that, and it'll change.